So this is how it ends? Nobody's going to live through this, Louie thought. He wondered how long it would take news of his death to reach his family and friends back home in Torrance, California. Growing up there, he'd got himself into a lot of tight spots, but he always had a knack for finding a way out. The locals called him Lucky Louie as a result. Now, it seemed, his luck had run out. The mangled fuselage of the plane continued to sink, and Louie wished he were back in Torrance. Chapter 2. A Magnet for Trouble. 7-year-old Louie Zamperini walked home from school with his head down, his eyes busily scanning the sidewalk for cigarette butts. When he spotted one, he swooped down and scooped it into a paper bag. Louie paid particular attention as he neared the main intersection in the small town of Torrance, California, where he lived. Intersections were gold mines of cigarette stubs. Louie had observed many people standing on the corner taking one last puff before throwing their cigarette to the ground and stepping off the curb. The area around the movie theater was another good source for butts. Louie also made sure to check the 2 hotels in town. Once he completed his usual circuit, he headed to a row of eucalyptus trees everyone referred to as Tree Row. Behind the trees was a drainage ditch with railroad tracks beyond. Louie walked to the 10th tree from the left and reached into a hole in the trunk. He pulled out a small bag containing a pair of scissors and a few empty cans. The tins labeled Prince Albert Crimp Cut, Long Burning Pipe, and Cigarette Tobacco were worthless now. But when he had filled them with tobacco, Louie could sell the cans for a nickel apiece. Louie sat beside a ditch and pulled out the paper bag of butts. He selected the longest one, put it to his lips, and lit it with a match. He sucked in the smoke before breathing out deeply. With the half-used cigarette dangling from his lips, Louie began cutting each cigarette butt open, allowing the tobacco to fall into the first Prince Albert tin. He kept at it until the tin was full, and then moved on to filling the next tin. On a good afternoon, Louie could fill 2 tins. At the movie theater on Saturday afternoons, he'd sell those tins of recycled tobacco to teenage boys for a nickel, half the price of a brand new tin of tobacco. When he finished filling the tins, Louie packed everything back into the bag and stuffed it into the hole in the tree before heading home. On the way home, Louie encountered several older boys from school. "There goes the Dago," one boy yelled, wheeling his bike around to face Louie. Louie's body tensed. He hated being called a Dago. He wasn't sure why people liked to pick on him. Perhaps it was his wiry, thick black hair, his spindly legs, or his strong Italian accent. Even though Louie had been born in New York, his father and his mother's family were from Italy. Until Louie began attending school, he rarely heard English spoken either at home or in the neighborhood. Now, at school, he was learning to read and write in English, which he thought was a strange language. The task seemed impossible. Already, Louie was repeating first grade. "Hey, Wop, we're talking to you," another boy said, as he rode his bike up beside Louie. Then another boy reached out and shoved Louie. Louie yelled and flailed his arms, trying to fend off the boys as they formed a circle around him with their bikes. "Best show in town," one boy goaded. While the comment made Louie angry. He'd grown used to such harassment. It happened all the time on the playground and going to and from school. The older boys picked on him, hoping to get him to swear at them in Italian. When 2 of the boys got off their bikes and walked toward him, Louie slipped between 2 other bikes and took off running. Even though Louie was 3 or 4 years younger than the boys, he was sure he could escape his tormentors. Louie could outrun anyone he knew, except his older brother Pete. Louie ran until he reached the railroad tracks, and then ran along it.